Next up, we've got James, or Jim Struthers.
James at the beginning. I thought my mum was here.
Yeah, well,
It's been normal.
She's the only one who calls me James.
well, the behaviour that you've been presenting about getting the slides. So I was going to say we didn't really know what James's presentation was going to be called because he only gave me them at lunchtime. So.
Yeah, so I only did it this morning. So this is very unrehearsed.
But no, we're gonna let Jim tell us what the answer to the life's big questions are all about. So
Absolutely.
Take it away, Jim.
Thank you. Solving life's big question with technology. We're going to get on to what is life's big question, but I'll take you back to 1982. 8-year-old boy, I had a dream. I was going to be a professional footballer, I was going to be a Jedi. Obviously, as the years have gone by, I've realised it's unlikely I'm going to be a professional footballer, so I'm going to have to focus most of my time on being a Jedi. But in between that, for 20 years, I've been working for Casella. So we're providing occupational hygiene monitoring equipment to all you lovely folks. And we're out there and we're listening all the time for the unmet needs and the pain points. Now, I'm very fortunate in my job. I get to travel all over the world very often. And a lot of people go, what is it you actually do, Jim? I'm a professional networker. Some people go, no, I think you must be a spy with all the places you go. And I said, well, although I'd like to think that's who I am in the top left-hand corner, if you come to the gala dinner tonight and see me on the dance floor, you'll realise I'm a little bit more like Mr. Bean and Johnny English. But anyway, in all my travels around the world, I go to all these occupational hygiene conferences and I keep hearing the big question, life's big question, unanswered big question. And it's already come up today. And I'm thinking there's got to be a different way of doing these things because this question keeps coming up. Now, everybody in this room knows the answer. But as soon as I walk outside to the man in the street or the woman in the street and I ask the big question, they'll just look at me blankly. Won't have a clue what I'm talking about. What is life's big question? It is 3, 2, 1. What is, come on. Henry Kelly's been there for ages. What is occupational hygiene? Yeah? We've already had a conversation today. People go, are you a dentist? So if I say to somebody, I sell occupational hygiene monitoring equipment, most of my friends come back and go, you sell toothbrushes? Are you doing some, do you clean toilets, Jim? No. We're trying to reduce the risk in the workplace for physical, chemical, and biological issues. So, but to them, they don't get it. And I think you're right in some respects, that question about what is occupational hygiene, really difficult to explain. Now, if I said to somebody 42, they go, oh yeah, the life, the universe, everything that's in it. Yeah, I know that. But if I go, what is occupational hygiene? They're like, does 42 cover that? And it doesn't. So we've got to make some changes, yeah? The profession needs to make some changes. So I'm thinking, right, let's do a 180 here. Instead of keep trying to ask the same question, what is occupational hygiene? Why don't we make every worker an occupational hygienist? Make them a virtual occupational hygienist so it becomes the norm. So every time they go into the workplace, instead of thinking, what is occupational hygiene? They're thinking, I'm going to do something about it today. So how can we do it? We can do it with technology. The modern day pen and paper exists, yeah? It's in our hands. This is a data centre nowadays. We go everywhere with our mobile phone. Most people say, I can leave everything at home, but I can't leave my mobile phone. So if you look at today, how you go around doing your job, current situation, you have limited time, you have limited resource, you have limited budget because you don't buy enough, and you're measuring some people sometimes. But is that enough? Is that good enough? Not really. What would you really want to do? The internet of people exists, yeah? So if you go to a construction site, no one's going to go there without putting on their hard hat and their steel toe-cap boots. So why not we get them on there and wear sensors? All of the people, all the time. Then we collect data. And when you get data, you start to get trends. And data's only good if you do something with it. But all of a sudden, you can make informed choices on these large data sets. So you can predict exposure. You can review operations, offer training. You can even reward people for doing PPE and wearing it at the right time. And there's a mutual benefit, okay? So there's always got to be a bottom line. Somebody somewhere is going to look at the cost. But if you can have increased productivity and efficiency because you've got healthier workers, you can reduce claims, litigation. Absenteeism goes down. There is mutual benefit. And this industry, legislation can tend to move very slowly. So we've got to be careful not to think, well, we've always done it this way. Now, I'm not saying it's got to overtake the way we do things today, but it's there to supplement and it's there to help. So we mustn't get stuck with what we've done 30 years ago or 20 years ago. We've got to start to embrace the future. We today monitor ourselves in every part of our waking lives, even our sleep. Constantly Fitbits, mobile phones, health data, lack of sleep I've had since last night due to over-imbibing. So the technology is starting to exist and we can start to look at these data sets. So what we're doing then is we're taking responsibility away from just you as the occupational hygienist, and we're making every single worker responsible for health and safety in the workplace. So they are empowered, they're engaged, and we're enhancing their lives. So we've got to look at doing some things differently. And the good thing about this is that we start then to treat health like safety. So Gandhi said, the future depends on what we do in the present. We always look at safety and say, well, someone might die today, we've got to get it right. So why don't we monitor health the same way? Now, I wouldn't necessarily let him on my construction site because his PPE was a bit poor. But the point is, he was thinking ahead, saying, let's treat health like safety. And so going back to being a Jedi, we can all be Jedis. Yeah? So what we're going to do is we're going to teach people the ways of occupational hygiene. So I become a hygienist like my father. Yeah? And that way, people are no longer just minions. And when you ask the big question, what is occupational hygiene? Instead of people going, they'll go, I'm an occupational hygienist. I'm an occupational hygienist. And one of them might say banana, but most will say, I am an occupational hygienist. So that's solving life's big question through the use of technology.